The Tea Party movement roaring back to life with its largest gathering in Washington, D.C. since 2010. Thousands of supporters gathered outside the Capitol today to stand up against the targeting from the IRS and to push back against big government. Several Republican lawmakers were there, including Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Steve King.
What's happened with the IRS is an absolute outrage.
And we're sick and tired of government bullies, and we need to send them home.
If this broad federal government can track every phone call, if they can track every internet activity you have, if they can track your credit card, if they can track your cell phone, and if the IRS then can have a software package to focus their enforcement on the enemies of the President of the United States, this big brother has gotten a lot creepier than George Orwell thought it would ever get.
All right, we're going to kick this around. Eric, I wanted to ask you about how, after maybe a little bit of time of being apart, the mainstream Republicans or establishment and the Tea Party actually have a reason to come together now with fresh ideas or fresh ammunition because of the IRS scandal and then the possibility of the IRS, well, now it's in law, IRS taking over and implementing Obamacare. So that's like new idea.
What is your
He made a face.
You caught him now.
You always make weird faces at me, and I'm glad you said it.
Busting.
I didn't know anybody was paying attention.
And then I make him back
Wait,
again.
I'm looking right
Was it at me?
No, he was making a face at Kimberly.
And then I made one back.
Yes.
It was really good.
Anyhow,
This
so you were
is,
saying.
welcome to the most mature hour of television on cable news.
You
Okay, what
were
I was saying
yeah.
is that Republicans under the Big Tent have a new, renewed vigor to unify against, I don't know, I'm like looking at Greg, wondering if he's making other comments.
No, don't worry about him.
But don't worry about Greg. What do you think about it?
So I had this long conversation. Someone stopped me in the street today. Said, all these scandals, are they going to have effect on Obama? I said, no, they're not going to have an effect on Obama, but they will have effect on the 2014 midterm elections. These scandals, Benghazi, DOJ, IRS, NSA, you know, independently wouldn't have had much of an effect, but aggregately, you know, people are going to remind all the commercials, all the political commercials in 2014. Go, hey, do you want more of this? Do you want more of these Democrats? The transparency that Obama promised isn't going to happen. I think what it did was it's going to guarantee the GOP the House again, and it's going to actually get some seats in for the GOP in the Senate. And really, that's kind of more important than winning the White House in 2016.
Ooh, look at our resident skeptic is there with his...
Well, being a resident skeptic, bringing the GOP together, looking at those speakers, you got the fringe of the fringe speaking.
But that's who got the people to come out, though.
Well, sure. I mean, they come out for those people because they're very far over the right. That picture, by the way, I've seen a lot of demonstrations in Washington. Whenever you want to make a demonstration look bigger, you always use a small lens on your camera. The Tea Party is not a very potent force this time around. I don't think. They had Obamacare last time. I just don't think, frankly, that they're that big a deal. And I think the Republican mainstream is running away from them.
But even with this new round of scandals, do you think that they're pulling together?
Bob is so wrong. Remember when President Obama said, "We are the ones we were waiting for"?
Right.
This is actually it. He inadvertently created a new modern movement, and it's like what Eric said. You start with class warfare. First, you start with Obamacare, disaster. Class warfare, Benghazi, DOJ, IRS, NSA, targeting innocents since 2008. The Tea Party is the tip of this arrow, and America actually has to get behind it with that arrow, stab the beast of big government, and watch it writhe and die. The IRS is the beating heart of that beast, and you got to do it. You look at those people, Bob. I know that you think they're funny looking and whatnot, but the most explosive thing you're going to find there is potato salad, and the only bomb you're going to find there's lip balm.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, people blame, people when the marathon bombing took place, what did Michael Moore suggest? That it was people like that do this stuff. These are good people. This is the calmest, sweetest revolution probably ever, and they deserve the respect for being right for the past 5 years.
With a metaphor like that of stabbing the beast, it's no wonder that Republicans are considered the monsters that you have painted them out to be. Can I get Kimberly in here after we listen to someone that you and I have a crush on? Oh, somebody very wise.
You guys can't talk about me.
Let's listen to the one we actually have a crush on.
We see what's happening with the IRS, with the DOJ, all these huge institutions, which are obviously failing the American people, being abusive, in some cases corrupt. This is a time for an ideological offensive on the part of conservatives, the vindication of the idea of smaller government. So stop the navel gazing and make the case. If conservatives do, they will win.
Kimberly, I wanted to ask you, are the Republicans just too mired down in self-analysis and putting themselves on the couch and wondering what's going to happen to them and what do they really mean? Then they should just get together and do it.
Yeah, you have to, at a certain point, make the jump past ideology and jump into action. I think that's why the Tea Party has resonated with so many people. And I think more than anything, Bob, sorry to say, they're back. And you know why they are significant? Because your side is afraid of them. Otherwise, why would they be targeting them with the IRS and auditing them and making sure that they don't get their tax-exempt status? Because they are fearful, because they did have an impact on the midterm elections, and they will again, because people are tired of the government abuse, all the problems, these scandals that we've seen with this administration. The Tea Party is addressing a lot of that in their platform. So it is a concern for your side.
Just for the record, I have nothing against these people. I think they have every right to protest. I'm not making fun of them for making fun of what they look like. Look at me. But the point here
you consider yourself a handsome, swarthy man.
The point is, are they going to have an impact in terms of the voting booth? I think some of these scandals collectively will bring out more people to the midterm election than normally are there. That one has nothing to do with the Tea Party, but people like the Tea Party who don't like big government.
It's the vehicle.
Well, whatever,
they'll jump on the bus.
You want to call it, but there will be an increase in voter turnout, and it will not be in the Democrats' favor. But I just don't think you can consider this a resurgent Tea Party movement. You can consider it a resurgent small government movement.
Isn't that exactly what the Tea Party is there for? I mean, when you always say, and you'll agree that presidents, during elections, presidential elections, the right will move to the right during the primaries and then move to the center for the general. Well, the midterm elections are like the primary's primary. That's all these scandals with what you just mentioned, that they turn out more during the midterm elections. This is very, very good for the GOP. Scandals happening now couldn't have happened at a better time.
I agree.
But let's remember that there'll be 20 million fewer voters at the polls in a midterm election than there will be a presidential election. If you have 1 million people or 1 million, 2 million who hadn't been there before in selective states and selective districts, it will make a difference. I've said from the beginning I thought that the Senate was going to be for these scandals. I thought the Senate was likely to be picked up by the Republicans.
But Bob, the problem for the Democrats is this is fortuitous timing, right? The Tea Party has a good message, a platform that resonates, and there are a lot of facts, specific facts and circumstances right now that align with what they're trying to say. Government abuse, government is too big, go for smaller government, less taxation, more privatization, less expanding of the government, forget about Obamacare and giving the government money when they don't work.
Is this navel picking for the Republicans. You have been in this position, this has been your message for 10, 20 years. I mean, I don't see, unless you can get into a coherent kind of message, and you think you're going to do it around negatives, around things like scandals and the rest of it. Does that emphasize the small government thing? Certainly it does. But I just don't see anybody carrying that thing forward.
Why are you laughing?
What? Navel picking.
Navel picking.
It's navel gazing. Some people do pick their navels.
Don't you dare think about picking Mike. Is that why you were laughing at me, Dana?
You have a navel the size of a hubcap.
Because I mean, it's an easy mistake to make on what you say about a hubcap.
No, Bob's navel.
But the thing is, it actually is a positive message that we're talking about here. I think a limited government is a positive message. But what Bob is saying is, you're up against something that is about free stuff. The Occupy Wall Street philosophy was make everything free, which is something that's always hard to argue against unless you have intelligence, which is what the Republican Party must find. Look at how the media is going to frame this. The Tea Party is the most dangerous group, just below the Taliban, NAMBLA, and Maroon 5. Why is that? Because they remind everybody of their parents, and parents tick you off because they're right. So the media is going to ignore them. They're going to mock them. If there's one poorly spelled sign at that rally, The Daily Show will spend 20 minutes mocking that sign to make themselves feel smarter, while ignoring the fundamental issue and the fundamental message, which is you're screwed. Big government is screwing you, and